All right, welcome everybody to episode 2 of Member Conversations here, where we talk to ODPi members, learn about what they're doing, where they see ODPi fitting in, and their visions and strategies within big data. If you remember last time, we talked to Milland at Ampol, and today we are joined by a member of one of the member of Pivotal here, Jacque Istok, head of data. Pivotal, a founding member here of ODPi, and we'll touch on that in the questions a little bit. But a man that also shares a common lineage in his career with me. We both started off as technologists and found our way over into the business side of the house, and now marry together both of those disciplines to really help connect the customers to technology. So, Jacque, it's great to have you on the podcast today.
It's great to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Great. Well, let's go ahead and just dig into our first topic, and maybe, Jacque, why don't you just tell us a little bit more about Pivotal and your role within Pivotal?
Sure. So I work here at Pivotal Software, and if you have not heard of Pivotal, which I hope that isn't the case if you're listening, but here at Pivotal, when you succinctly put what we're trying to do, we are transforming how the world builds software. And we're doing it based off of methodologies and best practices and software. Each of these things has been iterating in some fashion and evolving in some fashion. For example, in the case of our methodology, literally over the course of the last 20 years of software development. And in the case of data analytics, literally again, over the past 10 years of modern parallel computing on commodity hardware, have we been iterating on this software. So Pivotal started about 4 years ago through a combination of technology and vision from what was known as the EMC Federation, now a part of Dell, as well as some investment from several large orgs that you've probably heard of, like GE or Ford or Microsoft, who immediately recognized the value in what we had to offer. My role here has been, as you said, always been engaging with customers in some technological way. First as a field CTO and exec sponsor, and more recently, over the last 2 years, I've led the field for our data products and our data engagements, given my long history in data warehousing and data analytics. So today we've got a team of nearly 100 deep technologists in data engineering and data science, where we help demonstrate and architect and implement our stack or our suite of data tools, oftentimes alongside of or even in addition to other leading tools as our customers require.
That's fantastic, and it's always inspiring hearing about how, not only Pivotal approaches the industry, but just approaches problems and how they work with customers. I think it's a very introspective way of looking at it, and really sort of a technology first, which is really fascinating.
Yeah, I know. We've often kind of epitomized this in terms of this Silicon Valley idea or state, and what we're doing for our customers, instead of trying to have customers come to Silicon Valley and try and replicate, we're trying to take that Silicon Valley state of mind and actually incubate it within our customers, so that they can iterate as fast as the world really needs them to, given where we are.
Yeah, you're spot on there, and it's a great segue into topic 2. And both of us, we've been around data for a while here, and we know Hadoop, the technology in and of itself, and this is the same thing I say to anybody when the first time I start talking about it, it is an absolute game changer. But the flip side is, this has been a hard sell within enterprises, and as they take this up farther and farther up to looking towards that larger deployment, it's a challenge. And I'd be curious, so you're talking with customers on a daily basis, and you're out there in the field. What are some of those challenges you're seeing?
So it's a great question, because I think we've actually kind of gone past the initial foray into Hadoop and into big data. And as you said, we're now into the, all right, tell me the real scoop. And to get it, super succinct, right? I think some of those challenges that we are seeing now, include both the management of these tools like Hadoop, and of course the corresponding talent to both operate and leverage these systems or these projects. And I think that for some, with Hadoop being a complex and distributed system with low-level APIs, the amount of specialization or the amount of deep skills that are required, it oftentimes prevents an organization or the developers or analysts within an organization to really effectively build solutions or utilize the power, as you said, that is presented in this particular suite of tools. I think I would also add that, given that we see this time and time again, one of the things that we've really, gotten behind is our solution to both of these really lies within our HDB product, which is based off of Apache Hadoop. And then we couple that with, the technologists that I was referring to earlier, a deep set of data science and data engineering teams that allow us to get our customers on a quick journey to ROI, and actually even train them up along the way in a very agile pairing methodology.
Fascinating. No, and it's interesting how you called out. I mean, the things I didn't hear are that there's still technology gaps. I mean, outside of the, hey, we need management, we need orchestration help, and we need talent. The technology, it's there, right? It's there and it's emerging, and that train is moving. Now it's those pieces around the edge, sort of those glue pieces that hold it together and make it useful for an enterprise. That's the message I heard from you. Of those are the challenges that are out there.
Those are primarily the main challenges I see. Now clearly, Hadoop has come a long way with regards to enterprise adoption and enterprise readiness, integration, et cetera. And I think there's still some gaps there, but I think most folks are willing to accept those gaps for the power that you can get with this solution. Certainly for the cost that the implementation can be done for, but the technology itself has gotten to a spot where you can realize gains with the technology immediately at the end of the day.
That's amazing. I mean, and I think that's I think we're both saying it here. That's the transformational piece. A decade or more ago in the EDW space, there was so many challenges of getting to that point. Now you just have that faster time to get to insights and shifting yourself over to be data driven and digital first. It's really fascinating.
Correct, and I'd say both of the if you look at the take one of these, like the skills gap. Certainly there are a lot of specialized skills required for Hadoop, and I think that today most of the customers I talk to are effectively fighting for the same skills from the same kinds of people. I think one of the things that we had done successfully early on a couple of years ago was instead of trying to recruit the deepest skills and the most experienced folks within the industry, we took a page out of our DevOps methodology, where we found folks who had the aptitude and the drive to learn, and we effectively paired them together, both on the data science and the data engineering side, to build up an army, if you will, of data skills, which at the end of the day has served us well, because we've got such a good cadre of skills, and that methodology to pair with our more experienced folks is something that we try and teach our customers along the way as they're implementing and architecting and gaining value.
Yeah, it's the way to do that, right? Find that raw talent and work with them to help develop them into the talent that's needed out there in the enterprise. It's certainly the best way to go about things. So a little bit of a shift here as we go into topic 3. And we're getting towards about 2 years ago this time. Pivotal brought forth upon the industry with a few other key vendors this concept of ODP that later transformed ODPi, with a lot of sense of purpose of, hey, how do we reduce this fragmentation? How do we unify our efforts more? How do we provide a clearer story, to end customers in the enterprise? And how do we help better support these upstream projects? Sitting here today as that founding member, what do you see your vision for ODPi?
So it's a great question. I would probably take a first crack at that and say our vision has always been to make it easier for customers and products / vendors / projects to be able to interact with a core standard, enterprise standard for Hadoop in an easy and common way. I think if I take a little trip down memory lane, I think in the early days of Hadoop, so circa at this time, let's say 2009-ish, give or take a year, there was a up and comer at the time. I actually worked at Greenplum, which was subsequently acquired by EMC and is one of the products in the data suite that Pivotal has. But at the time, Hadoop was sort of an up and comer. We'd heard of it in Yahoo and a couple of other forward-looking places were taking it and trying to utilize it. And it wasn't clear at that time whether they would have success in that, and it also wasn't clear that it was going to be a competitive notion to doing data analytics. So at that time, I think we decided to implement the MapReduce paradigm, which was kind of the most ubiquitous, lowest level form of Hadoop back in that day. We implemented that within Greenplum. And as Hadoop started to garner steam, we actually partnered with an up-and-comer at the time, MapR, and then slowly, as it continued to really look like the future, that was when Pivotal actually introduced our own Hadoop distro. And I give you all of that history only because when we started thinking about ODPi, what we were really getting to was a spot where where is the business value of what Pivotal has to offer to our customers, and what we found was we didn't feel that the business value to our customers that we could provide was in sort of the core level of Hadoop, which is where we felt that basically partnering with folks that actually specialize in that was more to our advantage, and we could focus on things that drove business value around the analytics and actual SQL implementation. That, of course, brought with it the ultimate choice, right? It's like going to prom. Who am I going to choose to be my date? And that wasn't something that we really wanted to have to choose for our customers. That was something that we really wanted our customers to feel good about the choice that they were making. And so hence this idea of ODPi, which is actually largely modeled off of something that we're doing on the platform side for Cloud Foundry, but having a core organization that really has a common goal for the platform itself, with members who share those common goals and share visions for that goal, such that all of the members can provide or get value out of it. And I think that was the original, again, that was kind of the original vision was, how can we best serve our customers across all of the ecosystem? Because if you look at that ecosystem, there is plenty of use cases and verticals and customers where a lot of these projects not only interact with each other, but also complement each other. And there's really no reason for us to fragment this ecosystem any further than it already is.
No, and that's an interesting way of looking at it. And I think you sort of see these patterns in other technology cycles where, in the early days, as people are trying to better understand what the problem is and the technology to solve it, you often see just a fury of activity here of building those pieces up, and at some point this becomes commodity, right? And I think what Pivotal realized was, these Hadoop bits that were once very competitive, they're quickly kind of getting into that commodity stage. And so the question is okay, how do you continue to evolve that while not, sort of losing the stability and the enterprise readiness and the security and all those sort of aspects? And 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 this is a core tenet of how we believe and how we execute on various projects such as Cloud Foundry, Cloud Native Computing Foundation, and in the networking space. We look at it as this shared R&D effort, right? Everybody coming together under an open source banner can help solve these problems more collectively, so you can go focus upstream. And so I think it's sort of fascinating how Pivotal, saw that picture already, saw this coming together, and said, hey, let's get these pieces in place so that we can actually start investing and then raise, the bar here on where this technology could go.
Yeah, and you hit upon it as well. I think the other thing that the vision of ODPi brings is this common philosophy amongst the members of the organization. So all of us are looking at this ecosystem not just as a project or a collection of projects, but an enterprise suite of tools. And since founding ODPi, or since the beginning of ODPi, I should say, the ability to interact with the sheer level of expertise, both from from folks on the board as well as members who share that same passion, is really unparalleled. And again, it is under the almost under the old Linux banner of free as in beer. The ability to get us all together, kind of honed in on a common underlying goal, and then leverage each other for the individual experiences that we each have, both in terms of solving data problems, but also envisioning solutions for them. I think has been fantastic, and I would call just those tenets alone, ODPi has been successful.
Mm-hmm. No, I would. Well, I definitely would agree, and I definitely would say we have a ways to go here. But I think having that as a core foundation of what brings this community together, and frankly, we're all here in a unified purpose, right? I mean, the other open source adage that comes here into play is, a rising tide lifts all boats. And if we can help, I have a whole bucket list of these that we can start pulling out, Jacque, if we really want to get clever. But the large point there is, R&D and helping pull those sources together and helping get those insights all the way up and down the stack, from the person who's in the lab that's trying to implement this to the guy that's on the road 30 weeks a year at customer sites, all the way even into the core project contributor and maintainer that's trying to understand where the direction needs to go, what are the overlaps, or somebody who's trying to scratch their itch of somewhere in the middle there. Having the diversity across here, across personas, use cases, and how they're looking at the product, and having a mechanism for pulling that together, it services all audiences, and it helps solidify and help the technology grow.
For sure, and then not to skip over it, and maybe even a reiteration, but for Pivotal as a we'll say consumer of Hadoop, when our R&D is developing the Apache Hawk SQL project, it makes our job so much easier knowing that if a distribution is ODPi compliant, then my amount of testing and success with any ODPi distribution becomes one less thing that I have to worry about. And similarly for our customers, I think that when you're sitting down choosing a platform for how you're going to run your analytics in your business, I think that oftentimes it can be a daunting experience. And so by taking a non we'll say somebody who is Switzerland of sorts, ODPi, to kind of sit back and really set the bar for what is important to me as a customer, or what should be important to me as a customer at the bare bones enterprise level. And then anything that is on top of that is gravy to what I'm looking for. Also ends up simplifying my decision process, and ultimately, the way I make those decisions for the enterprise, making sure I don't actually forget something, or just because I didn't know it.
Yep. No, I would agree, and it's a great segue there into our last topic here. You mentioned customers, so talk to us. How is Pivotal helping their customers get more value from big data?
So I think Pivotal's actually somewhat unique here in the value prop that we give to our customers. I think at the end of the day, it's how our customers make use of data that allows them to recognize the actual value in either improving decision making or measuring positive business outcomes like reduction in expense or increase in profitability or something along those lines. So Pivotal makes it both easier and faster for traditional organizations to tackle real business problems. And if you take a couple of things like both volume and velocity, with the ability to store as much data as possible in a nice cost-effective manner, you no longer have to do sampling of data, and therefore any of the analytics that you run across your data is actually more accurate, and it'll give you greater insights than it would in our older traditional way. And from a velocity standpoint, with the ability to add as many CPUs or memory or I/O to your systems, interrogating all that data on those systems can be distributed, and therefore you can go faster. Your downstream systems can take advantage of the analytics that you're presenting to them. And then as I kind of go along that train, we actually enable an entire workforce in the traditional enterprise of both tools and people in a manner that's both familiar and logical to them, and effectively that ends up being anti-standard SQL. And that anti-standard has powered apps and tools for over 30 years, and maybe one of the most widely known languages for getting at data to exist today. And if you put that alongside of our data science and data engineering expertise, which helps guide folks, to take advantage of their data, we kind of have that full circle of trying to bring your traditional enterprise into a modern data architecture and a modern data era. But then the last, almost creme de la creme that Pivotal offers is really the best platform to deploy applications that actually make use of the insights in a scalable and continuous manner from everything else that we were just talking about. And we do all of this with our open source products, all of which are infrastructure agnostic. So you can run them on your hardware, or you can run them in the cloud, and that can be any cloud. So I'd almost kind of say with Pivotal, and actually in conjunction with ODPi, which again is some of the great synergies here, we essentially guarantee you both portability, scalability, and enterprise readiness without any kind of lock-in at all. And I think that really is a big differentiator, and kind of completes the coding circle, if you will, or the circle of data. We've called it many different things. That really is the crux of what faces enterprises today.
I think you nailed you hit the nail right on the head there. Those when I talk to companies, it's the same things I'm hearing. Give me flexibility. Give me control, give me choice, right? And there was a time when those were very mutually exclusive. But I think vendors like yourself are starting to are paving the way to showing that this isn't the case. And you can turn yourself into a software company without completely dismantling from the ground up, but being able to leverage, what you have, the talent you have, and understand the insights of where you need to go. So it's just fascinating. Really, really appreciate your time, Jacque, and a thank you for Pivotal and all the great work from a vision standpoint of seeing the need for ODPi out in the industry and helping drive and be a leader and getting to us to where we're at today.
I'm super excited on kind of where we have been and where we're going. So I appreciate you giving me a chance to speak to your listeners and looking forward to a very analytically wonderful 2017.
Indeed, friend. Well, thank you so much, and thank you for everyone who's listening here. Some opportunities, if you walked away inspired here, some opportunities to get involved. One, on the technology front, take a look at our specs. They're on GitHub, github.com/odpi.specs. You can see how we're looking to help drive forward what that enterprise Hadoop big data stack looks like. If you're a customer and you're saying, hey, I want to help participate in a group with like-minded and similar individuals who are out in the field that are looking at these technologies and how they're impacting my organization, look no further than our ODPi User Advisory Board. You can look that on our website, odpi.org/odpi-end-users. And then finally, if you're interested in helping support this effort that is across more than 35 different organizations, from large vendors like Pivotal to smaller startups and everyone in between from all facets of the big data space, join us. Take a look on our website, odpi.org/members, for more information. I want to thank everyone for coming today, and we'll look forward to our next episode, episode 3. Thank you.